What's the maximum muscle potential of a human being, and how can we track our progress along our journey? Enter FFMI, an abbreviation for fat-free mass index, and it is exactly what it says. It is everything except fat. So it is things like a bone, water, muscle, organs, etc. Basically, it is how much muscle mass you have on your frame relative to your height and weight, with body fat factored into the equation too. For the naturals out there, aka the mortals, and I'm talking about lifetime naturals fellas, not this month. Personally, I find it extremely important that a natural bodybuilder, especially a newbie, has an idea, a rough idea of what is humanly plausible in regards to how much tissue a human can build without chemicals. Because in the world of social media, we see people walking around at 5% body fat as mass monsters year round. And honestly, it makes us naturals, the lifetime naturals, feel like shit. It's just plain and simple, whether people like to admit it or not. It makes us question our genetics based on how fast we aren't progressing, based on how fast others are. It makes us end up with low confidence, not high confidence. You're meant to feel good and empowered about lifting. So we have to be super careful who our idols are, where we source our motivation from, for those reasons. Because the last thing we want to do is quit bodybuilding. This is bodybuilding, you're building a body. You're shaping, you're sculpting, you're getting stronger, you're feeling more empowered. It's very important for humans to feel a strong body. You know, we get the one body for life. So I think it's important that as a newbie joins the natural bodybuilding realm, that they are funneled or navigated well so that they continue to progress and to achieve their full potential, instead of looking at the next guy, or for females looking at the next female and feeling inadequate. Now, drugs are the obvious candidate that can skew even the perception of the best natural bodybuilders on the planet. Then we have to consider lighting, angles, tan, pumps, video editing software. It never ends. It's very hard for us to see, to know what is humanly possible. And this is why I find the FFMI is a very good tool to use throughout your journey, just to understand what the realms of natural is. Now, there are going to be outliers, but if we've got a certain level that we know is possible, then we won't try to pursue looking like people that are well out of the brackets of what's possible on the chart. I have friends that are enhanced, and they are open and honest about it, and I cannot say how respectful you have to be of these people, because they aren't trying to confuse the newbies. They're being honest. I find it extremely important that they are as well, because it clears any fog for us naturals, so we can see and understand and have more of an intelligent approach as to what is possible. However, there are people on social media that aren't honest. There are many of these fake natties, and they do it in order to profit because they run fitness companies. So again, there are so many grey areas in the fitness industry, and it's very hard to tell, which again is why the FFMI can shed some light. Now, there can be people that are within the levels of what's possible and be on steroids, but at least it lets us know of those people that are well out of what is possible. Another reason why I think it's very important to differentiate between the natural and the non-natural is because, for example, myself, when I came into bodybuilding, I thought I'd look like Arnold. I bought his encyclopedia, did about 79,000 sets in the workout, couldn't move forever, lost weight and lost muscle. But this happens. Youngsters come into bodybuilding and they just start copying bodybuilders' workouts with super high volumes or super high loads, or they buy the Arnold encyclopedia like I did, and then they find it doesn't work. They waste so much time, they can't recover from that much volume because they need to train like a natural. And don't get me wrong, naturals and enhanced both train hard. They're both grafters. You've got to have great genetics to get up there, whether you're enhanced or not enhanced. But the point is, there are differences from one to the other, and a beginner needs to start off with the fundamentals and be directed the right way with a real understanding and not false pretenses of what is possible, so that his psychology is better and he enjoys the journey more. And here's the kicker to those people that have been enhanced and are now not. You handed over your natty card. If you have been enhanced and used chemicals, you are no longer natural. Why? Because you maintain some of the benefits. Past use boosts the number of cell nuclei in your muscle fibers. Once they've increased, they stay higher forever. So you will always have an advantage over a natural, which is why all federations and all, in my opinion, should either be not natural or lifetime natural. Just for those reasons, because you have an advantage. It's no longer a level playing field. Hello, FFMI chart. Okay, so as you can see from the chart, it's slightly different from females to men. Females tend to be around 5 digits lower, but let's just say on average, the male is from 20, the upper limit is around 25. For females, the lower or average is around 15, and the higher upper limit is around 20. When I first started bodybuilding, within the first couple of years, I've been doing it now for around 6 years, I assumed that anyone over the level of 25 FFMI was definitely not natural, and this isn't the case. Just to know, the FFMI is very much like the BMI for normal people. If you're a normal human and you don't strength train, it doesn't need to be factored in. So if you do strength train and use the BMI, you'll find that you are in the overweight categories. The FFMI does factor in muscle tissue, and it factors in body fat as well. Now the fat-free mass index is there for people who strength train. For people that don't, they use the BMI, and that's good, that's valid for that type of person. However, when you start strength training, the BMI doesn't factor that in. So it will deem many fit, athletic, muscular people as overweight, but we know that that's not the case. So just briefly, the FFMI is very, very good for people who lift weights, who strength train. In 1995, there's a study carried out by Corey and colleagues on 83 anabolic steroid users and 74 non-users. All participants across the board had their height, their weight and their body fat percentage taken. Now interestingly, of the two groups, the average FFMI achieved by the 83 users was around 24.5. For the 74 non-users, it was around 22. At the extreme ends of both, for the users, they reached as high as 32. For the non-users, they reached as high as around 25. There was a handful of people around the 25 mark. Some was natural bodybuilding competitors, others was world record strength athletes, and some was competitive weightlifters as well, or accomplished weightlifters. Now because the world is a big place, the 83 users and the 74 non-users isn't a big enough pool size. So you are always going to get genetic outliers, freaks, world top class tier genetics. Albeit they are very rare, they do exist. So for this reason, it can only partially reflect a natural bodybuilder's limits, or what is possible as an enhanced athlete. So for better insight into human drug-free potential, Corey and colleagues referred to the pre-steroid era Mr. America winners of the past. Now this era was from 1939 to 1959. However, drugs did start to trickle in around this time. So we have a highly skepticism group and a moderately skepticism group. The box in green is for the Mr. America winners of the past that was almost certainly not enhanced. However, the orange box, or outside of the green box and down, is where the possibility of athletes or Mr. America winners of the past using drugs was higher. Now the average FFMI, interestingly, from both groups, if we split them up, wasn't that much different anyway, from 24.9 to 25.6. So the 1939 to 1944 group had an average FFMI of 24.9 and a highest FFMI of 27.3. The moderately skepticism group had an average FFMI of 25.6 and a highest of 28. So the use of anabolic steroids actually started toward the late 1940s with Soviet lifters. And bodybuilders started to experiment with testosterone 1954 and beyond. And my point of doing this video is for all newbie lifters or all natural lifters. I got a lot of love for enhanced lifters too, but I'm natural, this is for my fellow natties. And the message is not to question the merit of staying natural, and also knowing that as a natural lifter, you can look fantastic. Look at Steve Reeves, for example. He was in the earlier bracket, FFMI of 24. What a physique, he looked incredible. So don't think that you can't look absolutely fantastic. And if anything at all, stay natural for years, at least 5 years. And then if you want to cross over to the dark side, then you can do that. However, it can take some people 10, 15 years to reach their full genetic potential. And even if you cross over to the dark side, it may take 10 to 15 years to reach your potential as an enhanced athlete anyway. So seek motivation from, in particular, those bodybuilders between the 1939 to 1944 period. Because how unbelievable do they look? Like, if we'd look that good, if you look that good, would you be happy? Of course we'd be happy. The terrific physique. So can everybody achieve an FFMI of 25? Absolutely not. Like, that's pro level muscle. A lot of pros on stage today, natural lifters, lifetime natural lifters, have an FFMI on stage around 24.5 to 25, maybe just above 25. But it does land around that 25 number. Will you look absolutely excellent in the excellent genetic setting of 22 to 23? Yes. It's blatantly obvious that you lift weights. And we can also refer to past Mr. America winners who was around the 25 FFMI marks. There was just the outlier here and there that clearly had top tier genetics, maybe like 1% in the world genetics that could push past that level. So not many of us are going to be able to do that. However, an FFMI, even of 22 upwards, is amazing, and I think most people can reach those levels and above. What I feel the FFMI chart does is it cancels out a lot of noise between the enhanced and naturals, and in my opinion this is very important because it allows a person to stay adherent on their journey, understanding roughly where the human upper levels lay. Important to know, body fat needs to be between 4 and 12% to get accurate readings. If you're way above that, it's going to give you a higher FFMI. And just lastly, the normalized FFMI number is the one that you want to get, because for really tall people you will get a bigger FFMI, and for shorter people you'll get a lower FFMI. So what they did is they put in a calculation into the FFMI which basically made everybody the same height, and it balanced it out. So you are wanting to get the score from the normalized FFMI. My goal since I started out my bodybuilding journey was to achieve an FFMI of 25, and I'm not too far away from that now. So again, it just shows that us natties, us mortals, can get to those upper limits and look pretty good, though most of the time we may not feel like it. And for anybody who's curious, my stats are a whopping 174 centimetres, 12.5% body fat, and 184 pounds this morning. That is weighed in first thing in the morning, after the loo, before I eat and drink anything. So, what's your FFMI? What's your goal FFMI? Put it in the comment section below and let's see what shape we're all in, and it gives us a tracker and a marker to compare to in the future as well. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. There'll be more videos like this coming soon.